Enzo Amore, Big Cass. Bada boom, realest guys in a room. And me and Big Cass, we share a lot of things in common, you know what I'm saying? One thing that we definitely share in common is that we'd rather die with a victory than live with a loss. And right now, we're living.
That's right. That's because we are undefeated.
That's right. See, me and Big Cass pretty much the hottest tag team in NXT. We're hotter than the Peppers that Peter Piper picked.
That's right.
We got winning streaks in the dirty draws. Me and Big Cass are like cottonelle tissue. We're on a roll.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
right.
dude?
On a roll.
Yeah. And recently, we got a W against 3 Chicho Bros.
Let me tell you something, Zoe. If there's 3 things I ain't worried about, it's Scott the Weasel Dawson, Alexander the Big Mush Rusev, and Sylvester whatever LaFord.
Hey, don't.
Who are also just like cottonelle tissue.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. And Sylvester LaFord,
What do you mean
I did some. Shut up.
We're on a roll.
Shut up. I did some investigating. All right. Yeah. You claim to be very rich. Those offshore bank accounts you're talking about.
How were they on a roll?
They're non-existent. That's right. You're fugazi. You're poor. All right.
He's poor.
Scott Dawson, you walk around looking like a mechanic. Well, I ain't letting you fix my car. That's for sure. The only thing you're fixing is fixing to get your teeth knocked down your throat by me and Zoe. How you doing?
No, but
shut up.
He's like, he's crappy because he's like,
right. Shut up. And Alexander Rusev, you're breaking boards. When? You should be worried about breaking your mother's heart. Okay? She raised you to be a good boy. You're coming out there with no shoes, your shirt on, and a skirt. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's not a kilt, that's a skirt.
That's right, it's a skirt.
But dude, I don't understand. Me and you are on a roll. We're the ones winning.
So they're just like cottonelle tissue. Do I have to spell it out for you?
Me and you are like cottonelle tissue because we're on a roll. They're like cottonelle tissue because they're S-A-W-F-T soft. I got it, bro.
Sometimes I worry about it. Gotta
What
be
do you
honest. I worry about
They're
you.
soft, bro. I knew it.
Adrian Neville's moving up to the main roster from NXT. Yeah, Adrian Neville making a big splash. They're calling him the man that gravity forgot. It doesn't make any sense to me because we watch him fall multiple times a week. They should call him the man that reminds me that gravity exists. You know, the thing I love about Dolph Ziggler is that he feels like he's right out of the 90s, which is awesome. The 90s were great, man. My childhood, Bill Clinton on the sax. It's great. Yeah. Like, watching Dolph Ziggler wrestle is like watching an episode of Saved by the Bell. Yeah, he's got the athleticism of AC Slater, the hair color of Zach Morris, and the intensity of Jesse Spano on caffeine pills. Yeah. Like, I'm so excited, I'm so scared. Zigzag, super kick, oh yeah, I'm here to show the world. Bill Clinton on the sax, stock market's up. 90s were awesome. Today, ISIS. So, what's Randy Orton's deal? Does he think he's a snake? Was he bit by a snake? His t-shirt says he has venom in his veins. Snakes don't have venom in their veins. They keep it in a separate salivary sac as to not poison themselves. Is Randy Orton poisoned and he hears voices in his head? I don't know. I don't need to be slammed through the Spanish announce table to know that this guy needs some serious medical attention. Now, fast. Luke Harper, that name, when you hear it, it sounds like the coolest guy in school on 90210 or something. But then when you see this guy, he looks like the sweaty janitor at that school. It's like, dude, change your shirt. How about Diva Paige? Yeah. No, I like Paige also. But why is Paige always screaming, "This is my house"? No one asked. Like, why is she so self-conscious about her housing situation? Is she like a homeless person in denial? It's like, this is my house! I swear! I have a bed and a mortgage in the back, and can I just stay with you for a few days? Yeah. So I've had Paige on my couch for 4 months. I'm not complaining. She's hot and very pale, which is not my type, but it's somebody's. You know?
This is Tyler David, and you're listening to On the Network.
You know, he's just gotten to that point in his life where he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm Ric Flair.
I could see that being the case for Vince, though, like his dad being like, oh, you'll never be a wrestler. And then Vince is like, fuck you, I'm gonna take steroids and beat the top face of the company. I mean, I'm not the type of guy who, you know, Google searches, hey, Hulk Hogan sex tape. What I think they're doing is giving the wrestlers and the audience the true WWE medical experience, where it's, we're not gonna do anything to help you until you're about to have a heart attack.
And even then, we might just give you a Z-Pack.
You can't just have someone with a fucking heart disease get in the fucking ring, bounce off the ropes, and die in the middle of the ring on TV.
You would think that, but it could happen 3 times on your show.
If you want to buy a $10,000 Batman replica costume, buy it. Treat yourself.
For Lucha to consider themselves a reality show, that's hilarious, because in it you have a guy that dies, comes back, there's a girl that just disappears. Like, it's just like all this like weird mythical stuff happening around it. I almost feel like wrestling is becoming validated again, and it's not through WWE, but it's because of other promotions like Lucha Underground. I could just imagine like Vince McMahon being like, you guys wanted a Texas death match? Here's your Texas death match. And we're like, no, we wanted Lesnar versus Stone Cold. And you're giving us Flair and Hogan. God damn it.
I suffer from a condition called third-party embarrassment.
Holy shit. Apparently, wrestling, it's hard. Naomi and her husband to a sex shop to look at sex toys to help build her dominatrix gimmick.
And she wanted to buy the butt plug for her cat.
So the book note version of Total Divas, everyone hates Eva Marie.
This is On the Network.
Welcome to On the Network, everyone. I am Rich, and with me as always is Tyler David. Tyler, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty fucking good. How about yourself?
Oh, I am doing excellent, man. Like, after last night's NXT thing, like, I've been pretty damn excited to talk wrestling. And I didn't see you all day because, you know, we worked together. So I was just like, God damn it. Okay, I guess we have to wait for the show.
Well, you didn't see me because we didn't work together today.
Right. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Just to clear that up. Anyway, I say we just hop right into fucking Takeover. Because
let's do it.
It was fucking amazing.
It was.
I don't know, what was even the low point of the night?
Okay, so this is kind of funny, and I was talking to my friend earlier, and the way how the conversation started off was, hey, did you see NXT TakeOver last night? And the answer is, of course I did. I rate it a 6 out of 5 for a WWE product. And then from there, he's like, yeah, I agree. And then we were talking about all the high points of it. And the only low point he had was Samoa Joe and Finn Balor were too chummy at the end of the competition.
That's a good place to start, I guess. Okay, so the whole tag team tournament. First of all, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable are my fucking new favorite tag team. They are fucking...
They went over like crazy. The Kurt Angle chants.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They have so much fucking potential. It's crazy. They should have won that match. They really should have.
Yeah.
You know what pisses me off? Okay, I'll say the tag tournament was the lowest point of the night, probably, for me, because there was a few things that I didn't personally like. First of all, I didn't like that the final match for the winner didn't have an official tag team. Both teams were two guys that were put together. You know what I mean?
Right, but before you go on to that, what I'm hoping happens is Rhino and Corbin stay together. This is something I really think Corbin needs. You know, it's like Corbin on his own, he is boring. Mm-hmm. You know, but like with Rhino, it seems like he has guidance and he doesn't get stuck in that rut of go out there, 20 seconds, I'm done. He has to actually show us that he could wrestle. And that's a very good thing for the guy.
I could see how that could work, but at the same time, I feel like Baron Corbin, his name is he's the lone wolf. How's he gonna be a tag team long term? You know?
Right, but at least keep them together long enough. I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to, but keep them together long enough for Corbin to, I'm trying to think of the right words, assimilate to where he needs to be.
Well, can we agree on one thing? Is that his first match against Chad Gable and Jason Jordan was Baron Corbin's greatest match of all time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. It was like that mentality of him going in there and he actually wrestled. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. I don't think he could have done that without Rhino in that corner.
Do you think it was actually him improving, or do you think that just everyone else in the match rubbed off on him and just sort of carried the match?
I'm going to say it's him improving. Because even in like later on, he still had... There was still something there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is improving. I mean, not to the point where I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I want to see a Baron Corbin match, but he definitely I can't really recall any botches or anything, and they were going pretty fast paced and technical. So
exactly.
He's I mean, if that was Roman Reigns in that match, he'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing next? What is this?" So he's got that going for him, at least. But another thing I didn't like was that the first match that Finn Balor and Samoa Joe had, it was the same match. It was the second match. It was the same thing.
It was. But this is kind of interesting. So, throughout Samoa Joe's NXT career, he hasn't done a muscle buster. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did it to Tyson Kidd, and then we haven't seen it since. Last night, he did multiple.
Yeah, I want to say I saw one, but yeah, he definitely didn't do it as much, if at all. I want to say I saw one, but I could be wrong. But yeah, he did it. I feel like it's a safe move. It's just...
It was probably a bad landing, or...
It was just a freak accident.
Yeah.
You know, you could fuck somebody up doing any move, really. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fucking pro wrestler, so I don't know the technical details of the move, but it doesn't look that dangerous to me. It just looks like a standard suplex.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, both matches were the same. Another thing I didn't like was we didn't get Demon Balor at all.
Oh, that was something I found interesting. I'm not sure if I was against it or for it. Because at first I was like, wait, he's not Demon. Like, whenever he first came out, I was like, well, maybe if he wins this match and he comes out again later, maybe they'll hurry up and throw some paint on him and he'll come out as Demon.
Yeah.
But then, whenever...
Well, I think the first match was recorded previously as well, so that's why I was thinking, oh, they're going to do the Demon paint for the second one.
No, that was all live. That was all part of the takeover. None of it was pre-recorded.
Maybe because I watched it after it was already aired, because there was a thing in the corner that said previously recorded.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it was just because I watched it afterwards.
Yeah, when I was watching it, it said live for some reason.
Okay, so forget that then. But anyway, I was sure they were going to like hype up the injury and like maybe Joe starts the match off all by himself, and then the lights turn out and fucking Demon Balor comes out and destroys him or something.
Wait.
But no, it was the same fucking match as the first one.
But this is my theory on it, because like I instantly noticed that, because that was the first takeover where we did not see the Demon, and I was like, well, why are they doing that? But then I was like, if he's the Demon, does he need a tag team partner?
Well, no, I mean obviously,
but you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like that they were kind of protecting that in that weird way.
Here's why I think they didn't do Demon Balor's, because they because Balor and Joe won, they had to take some photos at the end with the family, and they wanted those to look perfect for future like reference. You know what I mean?
Right. Or
If
it could have been something for the family themselves.
If his face paint's all fucked up and he looks raggedy, you know, it's not going to look good in a photo. So they're going to use that for publicity and whatnot for a while.
Yeah.
And if he ever ditches the demon thing altogether, which hopefully he doesn't, but if he, you know, when they show next year, obviously they're going to show previous photos from previous things. They won't have to show the demon thing, but I don't know. Yeah, that was, I mean, sad to say, yeah, Balor was the low point of the night. I mean, supposedly he didn't sell the leg injury as much as he should have. I mean, his fucking finisher is to the leg, so I don't know that.
I thought he sold it okay.
I don't know. There were some points where he was just running like it wasn't hurting at all, and
like I noticed like he would do certain things and he would have to like kind of like limp.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was like stuff that normally he would not be limping. Like I think he sold it okay. And who knows, like he could have really been injured. I really have no idea. I doubt it, but you never know. You know, like whenever like someone's injured in the ring like that, and it's like a leg injury. Usually like when it's a leg injury, like I never know if it's like real or if it's just, hey, that's part of the story.
Yeah.
You could limp, and then after a while, like if you move your knee enough or whatever, you kind of get over it, and then you do something, and then instantly it hurts again. You know, and that's just from my own experience with my own knee. So,
and another disappointing thing was they didn't set up anything for the future. You know, no Joe and Balor feud or anything like that.
See, yeah, that was the low point that my friend was talking about. And you want to know what I was thinking about? And this is weird, but I was like, well, they didn't set anything up for this, and they really should have. But I was thinking maybe they did set something up, and we never noticed it. And,
I don't think so.
Well, the reason why I say that is they each won a trophy, right? And if you go back,
I thought it was just one big one.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like they each won that one trophy. But if you go back to like wrestling storylines with trophies, and especially like when it's that kind of setup, like I want to say it was Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant where the trophy got broke at some point. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where I could see this maybe setting up something for December.
Fighting over the trophy or something?
Yeah, to some degree. Or one of them will break it, or one of them will be jealous. Like I could see Joe being like, you know, you never let me pin a guy that night. You know, just something stupid. Because NXT does rely on those old wrestling stories and gimmicks.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if that happens. I mean, I could see it happening, but I think they didn't set anything up again, and it all boils down to the photo shoot at the end. Again, is how they need that nice cheery photo shoot. You can't have that nice cheery photo shoot if the two guys end up feuding at the end. You know, you had it was, you know, supposed to be this special moment, so it really didn't, you know, that feuding at that point wasn't, you know, perfect for that moment. So, I mean, Cody Rhodes did a great speech, and, you know.
Yeah, now, keep in mind that you've also been kind of down on this whole tournament.
Yeah,
like the whole
this
time.
whole tournament sort of.
And I've really enjoyed it. So, like, even though the ending, like, I would have preferred to see that feud, like, maybe start, I was okay with it. You know, like, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
If you'd have told me, like, I don't know, 3-4 months ago or something like that I would believe that Jason Jordan and Chad Gable versus Corbin and Rhino would be the best match of the whole tournament, I would be like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Gable, like seriously, Gable has done more than enough, and I'm really happy that he's with Jordan. Yeah. Because Jordan, we saw him when he was without Gable, like right before Gable joined him, you know, and it was not good for the guy.
I mean, he just, by himself, he's just sort of like a Kurt Angle ripoff. like he needs something to build up to that Kurt Angle level so people respect him. Because when he first started out, it was like, oh, this guy's fucking just a ripoff, and they weren't really giving him a push. But now with Gable and their chemistry, and it's just fucking awesome. They're pulling off moves I've never seen before, and just put on a great match.
Yeah, and Gable's funny.
Yeah. You got that going for him, too.
No,
I want Kurt Angle to come back so much and be their fucking manager.
Oh, well, before we get more into NXT, did you hear who WWE just had debut tonight for NXT?
Debut?
Yeah. So, there's a wrestler from TNA, James Storm.
Oh, okay. I think I heard that.
Yeah, he just debuted tonight. I guess they were filming NXT tonight, or it was a house show or something.
Okay.
But yeah, so they are picking up TNA scraps slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of a time when Kurt Angle makes it back over, if he's able to.
Well, fuck, if I was Kurt Angle and, I would just take anything just to, come back and be with the biz.
But you know where Kurt Angle would flourish the best?
Where?
In NXT.
Yeah.
And not as a wrestler.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, be a manager for them.
That would be amazing.
And then if he ever needs to interfere, just throw a fucking ankle lock on somebody. It doesn't have to be a physical, thing.
Right.
I mean, the guy can still wrestle from what I understand. He's just fucking... I mean, I wouldn't put him in full-length matches or anything if I was the WWE, But
yeah, I would definitely do that. Oh my god, that would be amazing. That would put those two guys over so much, and they would be on main roster within like 6 months.
Oh, if not sooner.
Exactly.
If not as soon as Kurt Angle came.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle would just come to the main roster, say, I'm not here to wrestle. I got a couple of new up-and-comers that I'm really impressed on, and I'm gonna, train them and take them to new heights, and then fucking out comes Jason and Gable, and they just proceed to run wild all over the fucking roster.
Yeah, and that is how you get older guys to push new guys. You don't put them in matches with each other. Mm-hmm. You make them work together, literally work together as a team. Like that. That would be perfect. Mm-hmm. Let's see, so we pretty much just talked about the entire Dusty Classic, right?
Yeah, pretty much, I think.
Where do you want to go from there? Do you want to go with Apollo Crews?
Sure.
Okay, so I really enjoyed this match. Really enjoyed it, but this is the low point for the commentary. And I thought the commentary was amazing this entire event.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Corey Graves is fucking spectacular.
But this was the low point. They mentioned something at the beginning of the match about Cruz, how he's never lost at a takeover, or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Granted, he debuted at a takeover, but he's been on a winning streak, and they mentioned it. Tyler Breeze has sort of had a nice losing record at takeovers. So it was kind of like, oh damn it! I instantly knew who was going to win that.
I didn't really get that feel from it. I mean, I predicted Apollo Crews to win. I mean, I think it's way too early for him to lose that losing streak, but it was good to see that Tyler actually gave him a run for his money. It wasn't just a squash match.
Oh yeah, no, it was a good match, very well done.
I mean, it was all right. Tyler Breeze has not impressed me that much lately. He is improving. He's got some different moves. His new finisher I like better. So he's definitely going in the right direction. I don't know. There's just not really liking him overall. But I would put this match closer to the bottom than the top. I mean, it was a good match, but out of everything,
But really, there was, in my eyes, there really was no actual bottom for this event. You know what I'm saying? I thought every match was
gun
perfect.
to my head, I would have to,
Yeah, I just look at this. I'm like, every match, in my head was like, this is the perfect event, and I'm probably going to say that many times throughout this, but I really believe that. I thought it was the perfect way for NXT to just kind of be like, yeah, we're here. It's like the Dana Brooke match with Asuka. That was a perfect example of a match I really wasn't expecting much out of. I was expecting Asuka to come out and just be a badass, but I was not expecting Dana Brooke to actually do stuff.
Now, you have been the biggest hater of Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think of this match? To me, I feel like she really improved, and if she kept up with Asuka throughout the match, which it's hard to do.
No, that's exactly what I was getting at. Was I'm not a big Dana Brooke fan. This is the first time I've actually seen her in a match where I'm like, you're not horrible. You actually put on a good show. Mm-hmm. She sells. I think some of it for her is where she lacks in moves and wrestling just in general, she makes up for in selling. And I'm not sure if you saw this, but I guess on WWE.com or YouTube, I want to say it was YouTube, but they posted a video after, and it was Dana Brooke in the doctor's office or whatever, and Emma was there, and Dana Brooke is laying there on the doctor's thing, and she's like, yeah, so how long did it take for me to beat her? And Emma's like, oh, it wasn't that long. You did good. And she's like, oh, good. How long? She's like, I can't believe I beat her. And Emma's just kind of rolling her eyes and just kind of saying, yeah, good job. And then out of nowhere, Asuka just kind of comes in and just stands over Dana Brooke and starts patting her head. It was amazing. That's the kind of stuff that they need to put on the TV. I understand why they didn't do it with this one, because it was already a 2-hour event, and it really would not have fit in anywhere on the show.
Asuka really was the best debut I've seen in a while. She impressed me right from the start.
She came in and it took a second for the match to get started, but she just came in and just destroyed.
I think the crowd really bought into her as well, because I know we talked about the crowd making fun of her talking, but actions speak louder than words, and they were all fucking cheering for her,
Oh yeah, and this is something that is just creepy to me. She's sitting there doing these technical maneuvers and just beating the shit out of her, just beating the shit out of Dana Brooke, and she's smiling.
Yeah.
It's like the exact opposite effect that when Brock Lesnar was kicking Roman Reigns' ass, and Roman Reigns just sitting there in the corner just smiling. Yeah. It had the exact opposite effect, because she was the one doing it. It was how, you have to take her seriously now. It's she's kind of crazy.
I'm almost scared for what they're going to do, because she had such an impressive showing. What are they going to do with her now? How do you top that? Who's she going to wrestle to keep up with her and beat her, You
could throw her against Emma. You could probably throw her against Bayley a couple times. The thing with putting her against Bayley would be that fine line of making sure it's never a championship match. And the reason why I say that is because Asuka is not good on the mic yet.
So, here another thing to point out, and I'm personally a fan, but I just wanted to see if you agree with this. Asuka's costume. Is it me, or does she look like how Bayley would look if she was an Asian hooker?
Take that idea and mix it with do you remember the Rockers outfit, Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels back in the late 80s?
Yeah, sorta.
It's sort of like that gone terribly wrong. Just those bright, obnoxious colors, It has a very 80s vibe to it.
I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It fits her character.
And her music was good too, so I really didn't have any complaints.
No, she's fun to watch.
So, I mean, development is working. So, I mean, Dana Brooke's improving, Baron Corbin's improving.
Which, those two alone, that says something about the Performance Center homegrown wrestlers.
Yeah.
You know, because, think about it, those are the two that we both probably bitched about on the show. You know, because Dana Brooke, like, I remember when
besides Eva Marie, those are probably the two biggest offenders of poor wrestling.
Yeah, because, like, remember when Dana Brooke debuted? Her idea of a reversal was step out of the way. Like, remember that? And now she's in a reversal roll-up thing with Asuka just going back and forth across the ring and mocking her. And just, it's like a totally different person out there.
She had a match with one of the best and made it believable and entertaining.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be sitting here, like, I might not be sitting here singing the praises of Dana Brooke the next time I see her.
Oh, for sure.
But hopefully I am. Hopefully I could say this was the turning point, and good for her. You know, because remember how we used to bitch about Carmella? Mm-hmm. And now we're both like, well, at least I am, like, hey, Carmella's really not bad.
I think, see, there's offense and defense. I think Dana's defense and flow is basically all she did this match.
Yeah.
And that was fine. It's her offensive moves that we got to see if she improved those as well, because she didn't really get to show those off. So we'll see how she does next time she wrestles.
Well, she had a decent amount of offense in there. I mean, it wasn't like anything great, but it was still a hell of a lot better than what she's given us every match before this. I'm trying to think of who else was on the card, because we already talked about all the... Because I don't want to talk about the Iron Man match until, like, I want to do that one last.
I think that was it.
That probably was it. Yeah, because there was the tag team matches that took up a decent amount of time.
Yeah, the tag team matches, then the two singles, and then the Iron Man match.
Okay, so before we get into the Iron Man match, what do you think about a Samoa Joe versus Rhino feud?
Don't really care.
I don't know. It was like one of those things, like, I saw them, like, fight last night, and I was like, I would not mind seeing more of those two guys actually go at it.
But what is going to come of it, though? There's no title on the line, and they're both fucking older.
Oh, yeah.
Don't need to be pushed, sort of. You know, they don't need to be put over some veteran. It would just be sort of like whatever, you know.
Yeah, well, maybe not a feud, but like I would say maybe like 2 or 3 matches. I would just like to see those two just go at it. I don't know why. I don't know like why this popped in my head, but I saw them like last night against each other, and I was like, I wouldn't mind seeing more of this.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing like if they had like a stipulation match or something. That could be entertaining.
Right. Yeah,
but
I mean,
I don't know about like 2
reason.
or 3 standard matches or anything like that.
But I don't know. It could have been fun. Yeah. So let's dive into the Iron Man match.
I think. See, at first, when it was all said and done, I was like, you know, that was a great match. It didn't. I felt like it didn't live up to my expectations because I had it hyped in my head as the greatest thing fucking ever. I always do that with everything, fucking movies and wrestling.
You do. See, I have to teach you how to just go in apathetic.
Yeah.
go in expecting the worst, even if it's something that you want to see. Like, I was excited for it, but I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, this might not be as good as the first time. You know, and...
Yeah.
Because last time I did that with a wrestling match was Owens versus Cena Part 2. That was the first and last time I've done that in a while. Where I was just like really hyped and I was like, fuck yeah, let's see Owens just go out there and destroy Cena. And then obviously reality came back and it was Cena.
His name is John Cena.
Right. You know, so it was just like one of those things where I was like, this is going to be exciting. It's going to be a good match. But I was like, this is probably not going to be equal to the other one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say it's equal to the other one. I wouldn't say it surpassed it, but I will say it was equal, and it told a great story.
Yeah, I'd put it about even.
And the best part was it was like a sequel. But the match didn't feel like a sequel. It felt as a continuation from that first match.
Yeah. It definitely was. It was a great match. They told a great story throughout the match. And another thing I was thinking, I was like, man, how are they going to build tension for the end of this match if, it's just, you get pinfall after pinfall. But they ended up doing it really well. For example, her hand getting slammed onto the steel.
Yeah.
And then later on in the match, she broke out of the bank statement because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they followed through with things like that. And Corey Graves actually called it out, which is fucking amazing because God forbid an announcer actually tell you what the story of the match is versus just like shouting random vintage Bailey.
Right. No, the announcing team did great. Yeah. But really that whole match was amazing. Like I hold it up there as one of the matches of the year. And it's like my list is a very short list, but I will say that one of the other matches of the year is the other Bailey Sasha match. They were both amazing. And I do look at them as sort of the same, like it's the same vein, same idea, like there's a reason for this match now, Sasha respects her, and it made perfect sense. One of the best parts of that entire match was whenever Sasha threw Bailey against the LED screen.
Yeah.
Then they went over to that little girl Izzy, and Izzy was crying. I was like,
she stole her bow from her.
Yeah, I was like, this is one of the best things ever. You made a little girl cry.
Oh, I knew they were gonna do that. They why else would they hype that up so much? That little girl. Well, but it still played out really good.
Yeah, well, I did look up some stuff into that match. Obviously, like the little girl knew that it was scripted and all that stuff, but I guess the LED thing was not a part of it.
Like it freaking out.
Yeah, like whenever that little girl was actually crying was because she was not aware that was going to happen. And Sasha just seemed to flip a switch and just turn into super heel. And right when that happened, none of that was planned out. Because you can't have the biggest Bailey fan out there, but you can't have that girl act.
I'm sure there's some 38-year-old lonely man that has 10 grand worth of Bailey merchandise somewhere. But anyway,
on that note, I have to show you this secret closet I have in my apartment.
Little shrine.
Oh yeah.
Is it full of piss, shit, and milk?
No, but it does have a lock of her hair.
Okay.
On there. Oh, it's perfect.
Some snap bracelets.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. So that's why there's Bailey posters all over your living room every time I come over.
Yeah. I usually try to hide them, but it gets hard after a while.
Yeah, you just run out of room,
Exactly.
So...
No, but to get back to the match, though, I thought it ended great.
Sasha is the perfect fucking female wrestler, honestly.
She is.
She's got the emotion, the fucking attitude, the ability. So if I had to break down the match and list off my complaints, let's see. First of all, I wish they would have, as soon as the bell rings, I wish they would have got right into it instead of just standing around burning a few minutes. And then they also did that whole rolling around pin thing for 5 minutes. So it seemed like they were just trying to kill time.
To some degree, but that happens in every Iron Man match. There's always going to be the time killer in every one of those. And I'm totally okay with it. Really, I I see what you're saying, and that's really a minor complaint.
Yeah, I'm not saying it killed the match for me or anything. I'm just listing off things, you know. So that would be one thing. Let's see. Besides that, not much. I mean, when some of those people came out at the end, it sort of looked like they were just like, okay, you're paying me to be out here. Clap, clap, clap. You know, they were not really out there to be supportive. They were just told to be out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Bayley, like, won the championship for the first time. You know, like, I remember when Sami Zayn won the championship for the first time against Neville.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was last December. Jesus Christ.
And everyone came out, and then Owens turned.
Yeah, but, like, because that was at Full Sail, they were able to bring everyone out. I don't think that would have worked as well, and they also wanted to set it up with the 4 horsewomen.
Yeah. So my biggest complaint overall, though, would have to be people need to stop dropping Sasha on her head. She took another fucking bad drop to the head, and she's gonna fucking break her neck. It seems like every match she lands bad on her head.
Yeah, I did notice that. That makes me wonder, either A, does she not tuck her head correctly? Like I'm just, like, throwing out all possibilities here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, either A, she's not tucking her head correctly, or B, there's a reason why Bayley's in NXT and not on the main roster.
I think part of it's just coincidence. First of all, the Frankensteiner they did, that was just a fucking horrible move. And 9 times out of 10, when you do that move reverse like that, they're gonna land on their fucking head. So I can't really blame Bayley for that one. It's hard to pull off. Even though they did it sort of correctly this time, didn't they do it this time?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, they did it, but I think Sasha reversed it and landed on her feet or something. Sasha, I don't know if she got enough spin, and I don't know if that's her fault. I believe it was just sort of a, arm drag flip or something like that where she landed on her head. So I don't know if Bayley didn't give her enough push to get her over, or if Sasha didn't do it, I don't know whose fault it was, but she needs to be fucking careful because she's landing on her head. And part of me is like, man, this fucking girl's resilient. She's landing on her head every fucking match, and she's not getting injured, but I just went and fucking jinxed her there.
Yeah, to kind of go along with this, I watched 24 NXT Takeover Brooklyn. And like that series that they have on there where it's like the 24 hours or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
They did a huge focus on the Bayley-Sasha match. And it was kind of cool because they were filming Sasha's mother and Bayley's mother throughout the match.
Yeah.
That move that you were talking about where she landed on her head, they show Sasha landing on her head,
mm-hmm.
and then they show her mother, and her mother just kind of like, oh shit. And then after that, there was a move during that where Bayley looks like she got hurt. They show her mother, and her mother's going in the oh shit mode as well. It added like extra story to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, it's like a match that did not need that. But I felt like I was watching like a bonus features on like a DVD of like alternate scenes. It added to it. It was really well done. That was amazing. And they were also like showing like all the girls like backstage watching it.
Did you see who else got injured? Carmella?
Yeah.
Fucking Eva Marie injuring people now. It's not bad enough that she already just fucking guns out and
that she's just
us
there
with the match. Yeah. So I guess she was just having a match and did some move on Carmella. I think she kneed her to the head or something. Yeah, they called out the medical staff. And have you heard any updates on that?
I haven't at all. I'm not sure how serious the injury was.
I'm thinking it was just a quick little thing, hopefully, because I haven't heard anything. Like, if it was serious, usually it's all over the internet.
Unless they're keeping it all hush-hush, so people aren't like, you killed Carmella, you red devil.
Well, Jeff Hardy fucking tore his PCL. That was all over everything. So
it's about time he starts getting injured. I know that sounds mean.
He's 38 now. Jeez.
But there was a match where he landed on his head on the steel stairs, and he gets up and just keeps going. It's just like, dude, I get it. You're made of metal. And then he goes out on his dirt bike and breaks his leg. It's like, wait, what? That's how you get injured? I mean, I'm not saying like I'm happy Jeff Hardy's getting hurt. I'm just saying it's about time, statistically speaking. Mm-hmm. Like, he's had other injuries. Whenever you hear of like injured wrestlers, Jeff Hardy is usually not one of the ones that you hear often.
Yeah, he is a fucking resilient man. I mean, I can't really remember him being injured too much. But this, supposedly, 6 to 12 months he'll be out, so...
Well, that takes away any chance of him being at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania.
Yeah, so that's sort of sad. They gave the belt to Matt Hardy.
Sort of.
I mean, yeah, they... Did you hear this shit? They fucking... Matt Hardy lost the belt because he was sued.
Yeah. Who does that?
Who the fuck sues someone to get the title? Like, come on. I bet you there's fucking plenty of people in WWE thinking, man, all I had to fucking do was sue the champion?
Okay, I am a huge Law and Order fan. Huge. Yeah. And I'm also a huge wrestling fan. I don't want the two combined. Unless it's a story on Law and Order about a wrestler doing something fucked up.
God, if you want to bring this into it, fucking Dean Ambrose has some solid cases. He could sue fucking Panasonic for their fucking TVs.
Yeah, it's like the whole point of watching wrestling is to watch guys have a minor dispute and then go in a ring and body slam each other. As Ron Funches says. That's why I watch it. You know, it's like, I'm down with that. I don't want to see, like, court proceedings. Just, like,
and
lawyers.
He fucking, didn't he, I think he posted that on YouTube. Like, you're not going to post that on your show? That he's giving up the belts?
No, dude, it's TNA. I'm trying to open my horizons to TNA. Because I remember at a point when I actually watched it, and I sort of enjoyed it. Like, I always was like, well, I mean, it's not WWE, so it's not going to be as good. But keep in mind, at the time, WWE sucked, so it was... I mean, it's not like it's better now.
So, what is the official... Do you know the official story? Like, the real reason why he's giving up the title? Is he leaving the company? Is he injured? Is he... Or they just don't believe in him as the champion?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't get into TNA politics.
Well, if anyone listening knows, go ahead and post it on our Facebook for us.
Yeah, it's like the most I get out of TNA is just Dixie Carter knows how to drive companies to the ground, and...
Did we talk about her big news?
Oh, god damn it, no.
Yeah, they hyped up this big news, like, supposedly, like, oh, we're gonna get a new channel or something like that, and what did it turn out to be again?
Yeah, so she tweets, like, sometime last week, that, like, Monday, major announcement. I'm like, all right. So Monday comes, and I'm like, well, what the fuck is this major announcement, Dixie? And it is that she's sending 3 wrestlers to India. It's like EC3 and 2 other guys are going to India. And if I'm right, they might have picked up, like, a cable channel out there.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, India is a huge hotbed of wrestling fans. I get that part. I feel like she's missing something. You cannot be an American wrestling promotion and getting all of these other places to get your TV show if you don't have a TV show.
It's fucking worse than NASA. Fucking, we have a huge announcement, and it's fucking just... They fucking hyped it up to sound like we finally found aliens and shit. And it's like, oh, we found water.
No, that is a huge announcement, dude.
I mean...
That is a huge announcement. Water on Mars is massive.
Well, did you hear they found water on Pluto as well?
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Like iced water or something like that. A lot more than they thought there was going to be, and I don't know. It is a lot of shit about Pluto they announced. It all sounds pretty cool. I mean, I don't really know all the implications of it all, but I mean, water on other planets is always a great thing. Could be life, could be future resources, you know, could be a lot of things to do with it. But anyway.
Yeah, but Dixie Carter, man, Jesus Christ. Like, I feel like she's taken, like, 5 steps ahead without having something to stand on. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. You know those cartoons? Like, Wile E. Coyote versus the Roadrunner? Like, those kind of cartoons? And... Yeah. Wile E. Coyote, like, has a trap, and the Roadrunner's supposed to, like, run off of a cliff. Wile E. Coyote somehow gets pushed, and then he's just standing on, like, air and then he, like, looks down and is like, oh crap, and then
wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, then just falls, like, millions of feet to his doom. I feel like that's what Dixie Carter's doing with this India deal. Like, and once again, this is something I haven't really researched. I just saw it and I laughed. Like, that was my initial reaction, was just like, holy shit, this is what you are giving us.
She's giving us garbage.
Yeah.
Speaking of garbage, though, Hogan was on Flair's podcast.
Really?
Yeah. Mr. Hogan. I only know one thing that really went down, and that's all you really need to know about it. So basically, Hogan went on Flair's podcast and was like, no disrespect to anyone. And then the following thing he said, disrespected everyone.
Really? What did he say?
He said, no disrespect to anybody, but basically, like, I didn't write down word for word, but basically what he said was, when he was wrestling and huge in the 80s or whatever, he had no one there with him to help him out. So basically, every other wrestler of that generation was garbage, and he was doing everything on his own. So he disrespected everyone, every wrestler from that generation with that statement.
Wait. Well, I'm just trying to make sure, like, I understand the statement. Does he mean, like, I did it on my own? Like, because I understand, like, the 80s wrestling business and modern wrestling business are two different worlds. Is he taking a jab at perhaps NXT, where he was up and coming and he really didn't have anyone? He just had to deal with the companies themselves, and then that was it? Where NXT, you get trained in all of that? Or is he talking about, hey, you remember that time I was against Andre the Giant? I had to push him over.
In his eyes, it was the WWE was Hogan and jobbers, period. Everyone else was a jobber, basically, is in his mind. He's saying he was the business. He had no one at the top, at his level, helping him out to build the business.
Remember that time that they had a chance to have Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Or it might have been WrestleMania, it might have been a SummerSlam, but it was a big pay-per-view, right? Mm-hmm. And they had a chance because Ric Flair was in the WWF, Hogan's in WWF, and they wouldn't do it because Hogan, from what I understand, Hogan wouldn't do it.
He's the fucking biggest crybaby ever. I lose more respect for this guy day after day. Everything I hear about him.
The guy is nuts.
Yeah.
And what it is, like really, like, I would not be surprised if he's just taken so many headshots over the years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Wrestling is not a safe activity. It's not a safe sport. Like, it's been proven, like, head injuries are bad. Right? And I just wonder, how old is he now? Like, late 60s, early 70s?
Yeah, he doesn't have too much longer.
Well, I mean, he might have another 30 years for all we know.
Doubt it.
I'm just saying. Like, yeah. Hogan could be like Keith Richards. You know, just that guy that he's never going to die. He's just always going to be there. Generations have come and gone during his lifetime, and he's just going to be there. But I just wonder if he's starting to kind of have, like, tidbits of dementia. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like the stuff that he says randomly.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, the stuff that he says randomly, and then he'll be like, I never said that. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole racist thing. How he was like, well, yeah, but I guess that happened. Like, it's like, dude, you did this to yourself on every level.
Yeah.
You know? And also, I was listening to Don Tony, Kevin Castle podcast about a month ago. Jesus. And Don Tony was talking about it. I'm giving, like, full credit to DT here because God knows I don't have any kind of insider information. He was talking about how Hogan's restaurant is having to close.
Really?
Yeah. He had a restaurant in Florida. And it's kind of funny because it's just, like, he's, like, not even, like, a huge owner. He's, like, a minority owner of the place, you know? Like, it's pretty much his name is on it, and that's what brought people to the place. And then there's other guys who put more money in it and made it into a successful business. And then Hogan goes and says, you know, racist shit. And over time, like, pretty much ever since that moment, his restaurant kind of stopped making money. You know, because the world that we live in, generally, people frown upon that. You know, so the best way to show him that we frown upon him saying stuff like that is to not give him money. You know, so, yeah, that was really interesting. I don't remember what episode of Don Tony and Kevin Castle it was, but he was, like, talking about it, how it was, like, very good sources and stuff. And so far, from what I've heard from Don Tony and Kevin Castle, he doesn't drop that kind of stuff too often. You know, like, he'll talk about his opinions all day, but it's really rare that he'll straight up be like, my sources. You know, like, he doesn't do that too often unless it's something that's actually happening.
Yeah. All right, you got anything to bring up before we take a break?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, did you get a chance to look at the Raw ratings this week?
They were down still, weren't they?
I'm sure they were. I
think they improved a smidge, but we're still way down.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even see most of Raw.
See, okay. You have a champion in Seth Rollins, right? This motherfucker, his last 16 matches, how many do you think he's won out of his last 16 matches?
He doesn't really win too often, does he?
No. He's won one match out of his last 16. And I'm pretty sure that was Sting, where he basically had to beat him, otherwise he was going to die in the ring. Right. So how do you have a world champion that's that weak? Come on.
Yeah, and actually I've read random dirt sheets where they were talking about WWE is in the process of doing a face turn for him.
Mm-hmm.
And
he needs it.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be kind of like Hell in a Cell a little after is when they're going to start doing these things.
Do you want to talk about our ideas to save the company a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, you want to go first? What was yours again?
Let's just go with a simple one. Whatever Cesaro did, he didn't kill a guy, so you could put him back on Raw, and you could let him win a match every now and then.
That would help. See, my idea, which we talked about for a while, but my idea was something big happens. I don't know if we have Vince McMahon die story-wise, not in real life, but or something of that magnitude happens, and it affects every wrestler. And basically what you have is sort of like how they do in comic books. You have a universe shift. So basically, every heel turns face, and every face turns heel. And it doesn't need to be every single person. There's few people here and there that are either not important enough to matter to turn, or they are just so dead set on being heel or face that it wouldn't make sense. But for the most part, so John Cena would turn heel, Seth Rollins would turn face, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns would turn heel, New Day would turn face, Dudley's would turn heel. So basically it would be a complete flip. And I think this would work for a bunch of reasons. So basically the idea I was leading towards was Seth Rollins loses the belt to a heel Cena. Then you build up to WrestleMania. Seth Rollins beats heel John Cena at WrestleMania for the title. And then face New Day beats heel Dudley's for the tag titles at WrestleMania. Then you have... There was just so many possibilities with this. So, I basically, if you look back at the last year or two of wrestling anyway, if you picture the matches in your head reverse, it sort of tells a different story, and to me, a better story. So picture last WrestleMania. So we had a heel Brock Lesnar versus a face Roman Reigns, and then a heel Seth Rollins.
Right.
Picture that match, heel Roman Reigns versus a face Brock Lesnar and a face Seth Rollins. So you have Roman Reigns, the heel, everyone is already booing him, so right from the get-go, that's the thing. And then...
That's what I was about to say, was like that one... That was like a weird match to pick.
Yeah.
Because that did not follow the basic rules of any logic beyond Seth Rollins as the heel.
Yeah.
Because that's the one where everyone cheered Lesnar, everyone booed Reigns. You know, like they already had that weird turn, but they never stuck with it.
Yeah, so basically, well, I mean, in WWE's eyes, Brock Lesnar was still the heel, but because they were still sort of pushing Roman Reigns. But anyway, so in my theory, so Roman Reigns, the heel, looks like he's going to possibly beat Brock Lesnar, right? And who better to save the day and save Brock Lesnar than another face, Seth Rollins, to come out and beat Roman Reigns, so Brock Lesnar, even though he's going to lose the match anyway, the belt doesn't go to the heel. So if you look at it like that, and there's other situations like that too, where it's like if you sort of flip it, because everyone's fucking in-betweeners now anyway.
Yeah.
So if you look at it certain ways, they could have made the story a lot better, but I don't know. Something drastic. My idea probably won't ever happen, or probably won't even work. But it's just so big of a deal, and they need something of that magnitude. Though, is basically my point. Of if you want people to watch wrestling again that stopped, you need to give them a reason. And one little face or heel turn is not going to do that. You need a huge thing that affects the whole company.
I see what you're saying, and it makes sense on paper. I just don't think they would be able to actually do it properly. Like they can't properly write for what they have now. So if you're trying to switch them up to that extent, you know what I'm saying? Like I could see it being just a horrible execution.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why it
like,
probably
on paper
wouldn't work with the current writers or anything.
Yeah,
but,
like on paper it could possibly work. In reality, it would not at all. Oh god.
Well, that's why it's a fan theory. Anyway.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, do you agree that something huge needs to happen?
I think that something huge that needs to happen is they need to let someone get over that the fans love.
See, in my theory as well, you have like a Kevin Owens. He would be face. I mean, he's a great heel. But I think if you have him as a face versus like the Authority, he could easily be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I know me and you talked about how you were sort of feeling that Stone Cold really wasn't a face, but I mean, he basically was at that time against McMahon, who was obviously the big evil boss, you know. I mean, he wasn't doing face things, but the Attitude Era was all about, you know, good guys doing bad, the anti-hero, you know.
Yeah, like, but the thing is like, in today's society, I don't think that would necessarily work.
See, people still love anti-heroes. I mean,
they
look
do.
at fucking Punisher and Mad Max and fucking Riddick and all those guys. But it's not going to work in a PG environment because the anti-hero needs to break the rules, and if they can't break rules, if they can't even break PG rules, how the fuck are they going to get over? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm like looking at it as they need to do something. Like I said, like your idea makes sense on paper to some degree. I have my reservations with certain guys. I don't think they should ever be face. Kevin Owens is one of them because Kevin Owens is just pure entertainment. You know, like how many people go on Twitter and just bash their fans? You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of guy.
Kevin Owens is walking a fine line right now. He's one of the few wrestlers out there that can be a heel and stay heel and not be a heel and people like what they're doing so much that they end up being a face. Like Brock Lesnar, he's a heel, but he was just so badass, he's basically a face now because everyone loves him. So if Kevin Owens didn't have that ability, he would already be a face. At least in the eyes of the fans.
Right.
And, I mean, personally, I love him, even though he's a heel. I think pretty much everyone does, but he's got the acting ability to where you believe him as a heel still, even though you love him.
Right, but with that being said, every great heel, like the great guys that like we think of, like you go back in time and you go, okay, well, like Stone Cold, he was a great character, but in reality, his character was just himself magnified. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just himself just turned up to 11.
See, I think here's another thing I have to point out is look back at the last 15 years of WWE. Who do you remember? You remember Austin, The Rock. You remember John Cena, obviously, because he's force-fed down your throat. But for the most part...
That's like 20 years. Just to throw that out there. It's not 15.
Yeah, time fucking flies. But anyway...
15 would be like Edge, Christian, Benoit, Guerrero, Cena, Orton, Lesnar.
See, now, in your head, do you picture any of, like, these huge guys as heels? To me, I always remember them when they were faces. You know, when you look back at the memories. Like, I don't think of Austin when he was with McMahon being a villain. I think of when he was fighting McMahon as the face. I don't think of Rock when he was, the villain. I think of him when he was, the funny faced with Mick Foley as,
To be honest with The Rock, I think of him more as the heel. Like I really do. Like I think of him more of whenever he came into his own.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that was like some of like his funniest stuff. Because he would just go out there and just say fucked up shit, and I was like, okay, And Edge, I remember as a heel. Like that was like the time of like.
See, I still picture Edge. Well, I mean, I didn't really watch Edge as a singles wrestler, but I still picture him as tag team champs with Christian as faces.
Yeah, but like later on, whenever he wasn't that Edge, he was, like he was dating Lita, and that already made him a heel because Lita was dating Matt Hardy and all of that bullshit, right? But then, whenever he became champion, he, like one of the times he did it, he like cashed in his Money in the Bank and just beat the fuck out of Cena after Cena won an Elimination Chamber.
Well,
and then after that, his celebration was like that huge sex show.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that like I remember. Piper, another guy, like I don't ever remember him being a face. He very well could have been at some point, but I don't remember it.
Well, okay, let me revise my statement a little bit. When you look back, at least when I do, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one in the fucking world that views it like this. When I look back at these wrestlers, I don't look at it. I look at them as, hey, this was a great wrestler. I don't really look at heel or face. But the faces tend to stand out a lot more memory-wise for me. So, I'm just saying, like, a lot of these heels nowadays, like Rusev, if he stays heel forever and he doesn't get into a huge level, I will completely forget him in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, I can't name half the fucking heels from the Attitude Era. That I'm talking like mid card and lower, you know. Whereas I can name like the mid card faces like Scotty 2 Hotty, fucking Hurricane Helms, and those guys, you know, Val Venus.
Yeah, like I sort of see what you're saying there, but like I was basing it more off of like the 15 years, other than like the Attitude Era. Like with the Attitude Era, heels, Kane.
Well, I'm talking like I said, mid card or lower. If you make it to the upper echelon, then you're no longer. Everyone's a fucking tweener up there.
Big Boss Man.
I mean, I remember him, but he doesn't like pop into my head as, oh, that was, you know, a guy to remember. Like,
really, dude, he fucking like put a. He stole like Big Show's like casket, or like his father's casket, like at the funeral. You know, like it's stuff like that like I don't know, like I remember like the stupid hijinks that they did. You know, and then if you were to go like fast forward 10 years, and then you get like CM Punk with his pipe bomb. Yeah. That was not him being a face, that was him being a heel. It was against John Cena, who was the face. You know, it's stuff like that. Like, I don't know, like I remember like very weird. Well, the pipe bomb obviously isn't like a very weird specific thing, but like I remember like that weird stuff. Another thing was El Snow versus Big Boss Man with that fucking dog thing. You know, but the whole reason why that happened.
Well, I repressed that from my memory.
Well, no, but like, but like the whole reason that happened though was because like if I'm right, Big Boss Man like killed like El Snow's dog or something and made El Snow eat it without him knowing it. You know, it's just stupid shit like that. It's over the top, and for some reason my mind is like, I remember that shit.
All right. You're shitting all over my argument here. I don't even remember the fucking point I was trying to make. So,
well, no, you were.
Let's take a break.
Okay, so before we go, let's do some quick plugs. Jesus, you would think I would know exactly what page this is on, because I still use paper. Oh, okay, here we go. You could find me at rstraws on Twitter or on the Network Pod on Twitter, and we picked up some followers like crazy over the past day and a half now. Like 7-8 people just like jumped on. I was like, wow, that was random. Let's see. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/On The Network Podcast. You could always go to onthenetworkpodcast.com. Or you could email us at onthenetworkpodcast@gmail.com. And also, because I completely forgot to do this last week, because last week we were like running really, really late. I definitely recommend everyone to go check out a YouTube show called Beer and Song of the Day with Joshua Baker, I believe. I can't read my own handwriting.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it is. My writing just really sucks. You've seen my writing.
Yeah.
Like, I could barely even, like, write my own name. Like, just, like, the way how it looks. Like, oh, Jesus.
When you sign your name, it's just fucking squiggle lines.
Oh, it's amazing. And what's sad is, like, I could read it. But that's what most of my writing looks like. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, but I definitely recommend the show. He listens to music and drinks beer. He also goes over, like, whatever, like, you know how every day is a fucking holiday? He points them out. And it's kind of entertaining, because I'm like, why is there a day for that? You know, it's a fun little show on YouTube. You should also go over and like his Facebook page. I believe just search Beer and Song of the Day, and you will find it, and give them a like. because he's entertaining. But, yeah, I guess we will be right back after these messages.
Hey, I'm Joe.
Hey, it's Amy.
And this is the Face the Music podcast commercial.
On our podcast, we talk to musicians to find out what makes them tick.
So if you love music
and want to know more about your favorite local musicians,
then check us out at facethemusicpodcast.com.
That's facethemusicpodcast.com.
That's facethemusicpodcast.com.
So check us out every Thursday for new releases.
You can also subscribe on Stitcher and iTunes. Enjoy the episodes. You can also listen to our streaming show every Thursday night at 9 Eastern at mixler.com/FTMpod.
Are we done yet?
Creature Feature, a bone-chilling podcast of depraved horror. Creature Feature. If you suffer from a heart condition, avoid Creature Feature. Chunky Larry plunges new depths of terror in Creature Feature. Listen if you dare. Available on Stitcher, iTunes, and Feedburner at geeksoftheindustry.com.
Movies need only 3 things. Badasses.
You tell me who you want done, and I'll do the hell out of it.
A chick with drive who don't take no jive.
Boobs.
Do you know that the female breast, known to be the source of life since Eve, can be deadly weapons?
And body counts.
Body count. The mathematics of murder and menace.
The BB&BC podcast discusses lesser-known action, exploitation, and horror cult cinema. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher Smart Radio, and Soundcloud by searching for BB&BC Podcast. You can also listen to each episode directly on the show's website at badassesboobsandbodycounts.com.
Got the goddamn message? Let's go to work. Wrestling suit, motherfucker.
Wrestling suit, motherfucker.
It's wrestling suit, motherfucker. Pay attention. Wrestling suit, motherfucker.
Wrestling suit, motherfucker.
Like, this shit sucks, but I know it's good for me, you know.
Motherfuckers. You kept on caressing Triple H's cock.
There's only 2 kinds of men. Ones that have raped and ones that haven't raped yet.
Yeah. And you had to go bust like
WrestlingSuit.com.
Undertaker.
Alright. The Undertaker! WrestleMania 13. So, in this match, Undertaker fights Psycho Sid for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it was not that great.
That's a great way to start it off. It's like, it was
Yeah. So, there was lots of things about this match that I was just like, what? So, first of all, you think at a World Heavyweight Championship match, the attention would be, hey, Undertaker is fighting Psycho Sid. No. Undertaker was sort of a side story in his own match, which really disappointed me. Because you had Bret Hart fucking interfering and fucking doing all this shit in the match, and then you had Shawn Michaels on the announce team as well. So the announce team was Shawn Michaels, Vince, King, and JR. So it was like Undertaker was just sort of there. for it, which made, if that makes any sense.
Right.
He was just sort of there to set up Sid versus Bret Hart, I guess, because I mean I don't know where that fucking went because I don't know the history of it, but so basically Undertaker's got a little bit new music. He's wearing gray instead of purple for the first time at WrestleMania. No Paul Bearer, first time of that. One thing I did like was no one on the announce team talked during Undertaker's entrance. They sort of let you absorb it and just experience it, which I liked. Psycho Sid had a pretty cool entrance as well. They put his name, like his name came down from the rafters and it like shot fireworks out. That was pretty cool. But then fucking Bret Hart comes out and grabs the mic and is like crying about fucking Psycho Sid like beating him or something. I don't even fucking remember. But so Bret Hart's crying, and then Psycho Sid just does his fucking powerbomb, knocks out Bret Hart, and Bret Hart leaves. So then the match starts, and it's basically a standard Undertaker match at this point. He does the old school, over the top ropes, lands on his feet. And there was this one thing they fucking did that annoyed me. Fucking bear hug. Like, Psycho Sid hugs Undertaker for like 4 or 5 minutes. And I was like, is this fucking necessary? Really? You couldn't have fucking done a fucking Boston Crab or chokehold or something. You had to do a fucking hug. Like, do you like that move? What do you think of the fucking bear hug?
It's an older wrestling move. So it's one of those things like I kind of grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like kind of like the interesting thing and why I enjoy you talking about all these old like Undertaker matches. Because you are really going through like every year and you're just taking a snapshot out of each year.
Yeah.
But by you doing that, you're sort of also talking about how wrestling has evolved.
Uh-huh.
And it's like one of those things that you don't even realize that you're doing because you're just like, okay, Undertaker's versus Jimmy Snuka. Well, first off, just throwing Jimmy Snuka's name out there, that's a snapshot that obviously that was near the end of Snuka's career in WWF. Like he might have been there maybe a year or two after, but overall, you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
And just these names that you're bringing up, like Psycho Sid on this one, he's just one of those guys that I was never a big fan of anyway. Because I don't know, like he was just kind of like a big brawler type guy.
Yeah.
And I was really into the Ultimate Warrior. But then, like, that lasted for, a year. And then after that, I got into Bret Hart and Macho Man. And Bret Hart was more of a technical guy, so that's sort of where I lean to. So whenever I see just, like, big brawler guys, it kind of is a turnoff for me when I think of, like, old wrestling. So to get back to your original question, like the bear hug, it doesn't really bother me, just because I understood what it was. Like my mind goes, oh yeah, that's right, that shit happened all the fucking time.
So speaking of an old move, I'm gonna get off topic here for a minute. The fucking eye poke and the eye rake. That move has fucking come back, and who the fuck wins with the fucking eye poke? I'll tell you who. Sasha Banks.
And you know what? Fuck yeah.
And fucking Kevin Owens did it again. He fucking eye poked. Who the fuck did he eye poke on Raw?
No, it wasn't on Raw. It was at Night of Champions.
No, he did it again on Raw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't watch Raw, man.
Yeah, we didn't even fucking talk about Raw. So, let me sum up Raw for you real fast. Summer Rae proposed to Rusev, and he said yes, but not really. The end.
Oh, actually, well, let's finish up this Undertaker thing, and then I do want to talk about one thing I liked on Raw that I did see.
Okay. So, alright, so Undertaker gets out of the match, or gets out of the ring. Psycho Sid comes after him. Psycho Sid starts putting Undertaker, like, he's picking him up, throwing him onto the guardrails, throwing him onto the table and shit. And then they didn't. So I'm sorry if I didn't catch this, but to me, it looked like they did not intend for this to be a no DQ match, because they didn't say anything about this being a no DQ match up until this point. And then, so Vince McMahon, somebody slides him a note, and he reads it. Oh, this just in. This match is a no DQ match. Like, in the middle of the fucking match. Because part of me was like, they had to do it to explain why Undertaker was getting put through all this shit, and there was no disqualification to it. So part of me was thinking that, but at the same time, the finish of the match makes sense too. Like, why didn't they just start the match off saying, "Hey guys, this is a no DQ match"? But for some reason, they decided for Vince to announce it middle of the match.
Okay, so the reasoning for that is it's one of those like old wrestling tricks that Vince is very keen on, where it gives the audience that feeling of anything can happen. Now, in retrospect, does it always work? I guess that's everyone's own opinion. You know, because I remember as a kid, whenever they would do that kind of shit, and we're like, oh, this is awesome. But as an adult, it's kind of like, really, guys? Really? like, I understand where you're coming from with, like, your complaint about that. But it's just kind of like that whole thing of watch wrestling, anything can happen, you know, and
yeah,
that's where it comes from. So
Yeah,
I'm
I could
okay
see
with
that.
it. It's a way to sell a match, how to make a match that goes from, you know, a mediocre match into that memory of, remember that time that Undertaker was in that match against Psycho Sid, and then it became a no DQ match in the middle of it? You know, it's just one of those, like, weird highlights. I'm not saying it's a great highlight, but I'm watching it right now, and it is actually pretty entertaining. But it's just one of those things where it's like, like, it makes sense why they do that. And it just sells a match more. It gives more freedom to a match. And depending on the match itself, it could help build the story. And this match definitely needed that.
So they get back in the ring. They continue the match. Flying clothesline by the Undertaker. They end up running into each other and booting each other to the face and knocking each other down. So at this point, the ref starts counting to 10, right? Ref gets to 9. And then Sid tries to pin Undertaker. And Undertaker kicks out at 2. So by this logic, if Sid would not have pinned Undertaker and simply would have stood up, Undertaker would have been down for 2 more seconds and would have been counted down and lost the match. But instead, Sid pins him. Now, that's just bad storytelling to me. You know?
This is 96.
Yes. But I just wanted to point that out. Like,
this is the equivalent of this year's Elimination Chamber, where all they had to do was pin a guy, and everyone was trying to stop everyone from pinning people if they were not on their team.
Don't get me fucking started on Elimination Chamber. Why are you gonna break a pin if it's gonna help you by eliminating that person?
It's the same logic that went into this. You know, it's like, hey, he could have just won. He could have beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. Instead, he doesn't. He did it to himself.
Oh my god.
You know, it's that same stupid bad writing. God damn it. Like, why is 2015 wrestling so easily compared to 1996 wrestling? But with that being said, maybe 2016 wrestling could start to be compared to 97,
Because it's because 2015 is about as PG as 96 was. We need to get into the Attitude Era already. Now, someone pointed out.
No, there's blood all over this mat. That would never go in old.
Well, I mean, just this match itself.
Yeah.
But before that was the Austin Bret Hart match, which was fucking amazing. But anyway, so Kane, somebody was pointing it out that Kane's going to win the belt at this next pay-per-view. Because somebody pointed out that what happened when Raw ratings went down in like fucking in early 90s, Raw ratings were down. Bob Backlund wins the title. I hope I didn't butcher his name. So he wins the title, and he hasn't had it in 15 plus years. Then skip ahead. Fucking Raw ratings are down. Hulk Hogan wins the title, hasn't had it in 15 years. Guess what? Raw ratings are down. Kane's gonna win it. He hasn't had it in 15 years. So
real quick, when's the last time Big Show had it?
Well, Big Show's also not in the match, though.
Like I don't even know the card for it because I haven't watched Raw.
I mean,
I'm
just
it's going to be
title-wise.
So it's going to be Kane versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah, for the title.
And that makes me sad because Kane is like the one thing I've been enjoying about Raw.
Well, I mean, if you're enjoying something, put the fucking title on it, make it even better.
That I don't. Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck's Seth Rollins doing with it? It at least improves the storyline a little bit.
Possibly. Okay, so to get back to Undertaker.
So, let's see here. So, Psycho Sid ends up doing a tombstone on The Undertaker?
That's kind of cool.
That was interesting. And then Bret Hart comes out, hits Sid with the fucking chair, and Undertaker wins the match because of it.
Interesting.
So, it was sort of shitty that Undertaker won the title based off some shitty interference by Bret Hart, but it is what it is. And the quote of the day from the announcers was, "Stop his offensiveness." If that's a word. His offensiveness.
Sure.
I guess Sid was... or somebody was attacking somebody, and the announcer said, he needs to stop his offensiveness. Anyway, I gave it entrance 7, Undertaker factor 6, match moment 6, overall match 5, announcing 6, crowd 7, overall total 37, which puts it second best overall.
That's not bad.
To break it down from best to worst so far,
well, let's just go like top 3.
Top 3: Diesel, Psycho Sid, and then King Kong Bundy.
All right, can't wait for King Kong Bundy to not be on that list next week.
I highly doubt it will be there because he's fighting Kane for the first time next pay-per-view. So that's weird. He goes from... a lot happens in a fucking year. Because he goes from, like, fighting Psycho Sid, which, you know, it's like the changing of the guard, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he starts fighting Kane, you can definitely tell the next group of wrestlers is, like, the next era of generation. And then after that, then it sort of goes to, like... then actually the next time he fights Kane... then it starts the next era. Because it goes Kane, Big Boss Man, Triple H, Ric Flair, Big Show. So I could see them all as one group right there.
And this is also the first time Undertaker had the main event.
Yeah. And then Kane again, and then you start the next era with Randy Orton, Batista, Edge, and then you get into the legacy era of Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and then the sort of starting his downfall with CM Punk and Brock Lesnar.
I wouldn't say CM Punk was his downfall.
Well, I mean, like...
I would say that I would start with Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
that CM Punk match was great.
Yeah, it was a good match. I meant like, yeah, it was a good match. So just forget that. Strike that from the record. Anyway, so what did you review next?
Well, real quick, I do want to talk about the one match on Raw that I actually enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
Because like I watched about half of it and I wasn't paying attention too much. Because I don't know, it's Raw and I have better stuff to do and watch lately. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you know, like new television season starts, so I'm all hopped up on my Law and Order and shit. But so Paige and Natty had a fight, and it was the first Divas fight I've seen on Raw that actually didn't straight out suck. Like, and it lasted a decent amount of time as well. Like, I was very surprised by it. Like,
yeah,
it kind of took me off guard.
I'm surprised they gave Natty that position, because they could have easily gave it to Sasha Banks.
Oh, yeah. Did she fight at that one? Like, I think she was on that Raw. I think it was after.
She did beat somebody, I think.
Yeah, it was after I stopped.
She made Alicia Fox tap out, I believe.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Yeah, but no, like I was really impressed with that. And also, this is just a random observation, but have you noticed Natty's ring attire on this week's Raw?
Natty's?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about it?
Okay, so you know, like, how she wears, like she has, like, that black, like, pleather stuff, and then she has, like, the see-through cloth.
Uh-huh.
Like nylon or whatever. But where it goes down is, like, under... I don't even know where to describe it. It's kind of, like, under her ass, just, like, on her leg, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But I noticed that she does not wear underwear. Or she was not wearing underwear on that. Because, that's when I was like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. It just took me off guard.
Alright, so the important things to remember from Raw are Natty doesn't wear underwear, and Summer Rae proposed to Rusev.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, the match was actually really good.
Yeah.
It was just like one of those things that caught me off guard. I think I noticed it whenever she was in a submission. And I was just like, wait, what? What just happened there? And then I went right back to the fight, and I was like, sweet, this is entertaining. Which was a change.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it from Raw. Let's see.
Speaking of women, how about, I know Total Divas is off, but how about we go back and review Season 1, Episode 1?
Oh yeah, so Tyler, guess who's going to be joining us next week?
Who?
We got George Seckman coming back next week, so that's going to be sweet.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
I watched Lucha Underground Episode 2, which I believe you did as well.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so before we get too far into this, and we are talking about this a lot earlier than we did last time, what were your thoughts on this episode?
I thought they continued the story well. They actually, it feels like either I got used to the camera angles a little bit, or they fixed it a little bit.
It's a bit of both.
And overall, the only thing I was disappointed about was Mil Muertes was set up to be like the super fucking beast. And yes, he did win the match, but not really in great fashion, I think. I'm not a huge fan of his finisher. It's basically End of Days, like Baron Corbin's finisher, but shittier.
Give it time.
All right.
I'm not saying like his finisher is going to get better, but give it time and you'll start to believe in the character like you believe in the Undertaker.
Okay.
He is that character for lack of better comparisons, he is that character for Lucha Underground. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and they already started to allude to that in this episode. The bringer of 10,000 deaths, stuff like that. You know, he asked Katrina...
Wait. Too many deaths there, homie. 1,000.
Okay, 1,000. Yeah.
10,000 deaths too much.
Well, that'd be... This episode I thought was really good. I liked the way how they put Puma, or Prince Puma, and Johnny Mundo together.
Yeah.
I did like that. I also liked the way how they were just kind of starting shit anyway. And Dario Cueto just comes out and is like, well, fuck it. If you guys are all out here, tag team match. You know, it's just like, it's like, oh, thank you, Dario Cueto. You have just set this match up. I am excited. You go back in your little office, do whatever you're going to do, and let's do this. It was a good match.
It was funny. At one point in the match, the announcers are like, "The crowd are on their feet," and then like you could see the whole crowd, and not a single person is on their feet.
Yeah,
and then, but I don't know.
That's something else that, like I said, like the first for the announcers, I would say like the first maybe 5 episodes, they're still getting used to it.
And then another thing was at the beginning of the match, I think it was Matt Striker. He says there are no rules in Lucha because something that happened in the match. And then later on in the match, he's like, there are rules in Lucha.
Oh yeah, it's not. But that's the thing. It's like you could tell like they're both finding their way.
Yeah.
But when they do hit that stride, Vampiro is amazing. Matt Striker does a great job. And it's one of those things that I never thought I'd actually be like, yeah, I really enjoy Matt Striker as an announcer. But
yeah, they do a good job. It's just like one-off little things like this that stand out. But
oh yeah. Oh, and
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad because of it. It's just funny. You know?
Oh yeah, and you expect more of it. You know, it's just one of those things where they have very little to work with.
Yeah.
You know, so either they're calling the match, which they do very, very well. Like
another thing is they need to follow suit, and they need to have Dean Ambrose sitting. You know how they come out from the crowd? Dean Ambrose needs to sit up in the crowd and smoke a cigar like Big Rick.
Yeah.
That guy just oozed badass, you know?
Yeah. That guy is a badass.
But, I mean, you can't necessarily do that in the fucking arena. But anyway.
Yeah, and what else happened? Oh, Chavo Guerrero and Sexy Star versus Lord of Havoc and Ivelisse.
Son of Havoc?
Son of Havoc.
Well,
and Ivelisse.
I'll just call him Havoc, probably. I mean, the fucking announcers were calling... That was another thing. It was like... I think Matt Striker was calling him Havoc, and Vampiro's like, "Oh, that's not Havoc. That's the son of Havoc." And Matt Striker just ignores him, and just like, "Yeah, that's Havoc."
Well, the reason why Vampiro said that is there is a wrestler in the indie scene, and her name is Havoc. So there is like Havoc and then Son of Havoc. You know what I'm saying? Like it is. There are 2 different wrestlers with Havoc in their name, and they have cross paths at times. So like Matt Cross has like wrestled with Havoc. So I'm sure that's where the name came from. Yeah. I don't know too much of like the history of where that name popped up.
It was a good match, though.
It was. Sexy Star and Ivelisse put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of it. And it was funny because like the 2 guys were like trying to tag in, and the announcers are like, no, they want to prove themselves. Dude, Lucha Underground jumped on this idea of women wrestling. This aired on November 5th of 2014.
Yeah.
Like, WWE is about a year behind Lucha Underground when it comes to
they're
women
centuries
wrestling.
behind. You'll never see a man wrestle a woman again in WWE.
Right. No, you probably won't. And it's one of those things where every time I see it, I cringe at the very first hit, and then after that, I'm like, all right, let's get this shit on.
Yeah.
You know, and it was good. I really enjoyed that one.
And then, the fucking promos in between are fucking amazing. And then Blue Demon Jr. versus Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes wins. Chavo Guerrero comes out, fucking goes crazy, and smacks everyone on the head, including Sexy Star.
Yeah, did you... Okay, so Blue Demon Jr., you were talking about the promos.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice, like, Blue Demon Jr. just kind of, like, in the back doing whatever? He's just by himself. And then you just see, like, a woman's hand touch him. And then he turns around and, like, there's, like, no woman's hand. Like, there's, like, no one there.
She's not there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see where they're going with, like, this supernatural aspect.
Yeah. So that was Katrina.
Yeah.
And you do... I want to say you find out what those stones are for, that they made a huge deal about. Because, like, the announcers kept, like, talking about these stones. It's like, whatever. Like, there's just a bag of stones. But you find out what those are for later.
Okay.
And it was one of the funniest lines from the announcing team, or at least one of the funnier things that I thought happened, was at the beginning of the match, like, Mil Muertes is, like, holding that bag of stones, and he gives it to Katrina. And the announcing team's like, he must really trust her to give her those bag of stones. I was like, what? Like, why are you making a big deal about these, like, fucking stones in a bag? Like, why?
I don't think they actually call them stones. I think they're just, like...
Rocks, I think.
I think they just say it's an important object to him.
Oh, no. They do call it stones or rocks, yeah. Because, yeah, that was, like, that was the reason why it stuck out in my head. Which is that sentence out of context makes no goddamn sense. That sentence in context still makes no goddamn sense at this moment watching Lucha Underground. Yeah. It just builds up the story of, okay, what's in this bag of stones? Like, what is it? You know, so that's kind of cool. Like, they're setting up stuff, which is really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I really enjoy Mil Muertes, so.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
I'm hoping next week. I'm hoping that you get... Oh, you do. Oh, yes. Next week is going to be a good week for us. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Really excited. Also, did you... what did you think of Conan setting up the story of Johnny Mundo?
Of what? Him feuding with Puma?
Yeah. Because you know how Puma, like, did that tag team match with him, and everything was all good and stuff, and then Conan's, like, backstage, like in the locker room, and he's like, don't get involved with him, you know, and just, you know, he's trouble and blah, blah, blah. You know, like, I enjoyed that. I really like the building up that they're doing on this show. And it's really weird to see all this build up again after, like, I've seen, like, all the outcomes. It's really interesting to see all that.
Yeah, the story, the cuts and story is fucking top notch so far.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I really am excited to get through more of these.
Let's see here. You want to talk about Madison Square Garden?
I guess so.
It was okay.
Yep.
Next. Yeah, but really, it was just okay. What even fucking... Jericho Owens was okay. Which, okay, one thing I didn't understand was... Why the fuck is Jericho... He did a face promo, like... Because obviously you don't want to heel Jericho versus heel Owens, but... Didn't he just come off as a heel at Night of Champions? And now he's already turning face?
Yeah, okay, so this is... You know how, like, earlier we were pretty much trying to nitpick TakeOver?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even know why we were doing that, because it was an amazing event. But it still happened. This event, I can nitpick to days. This is my biggest complaint with the Madison Square Garden event thing that happened. Was the way how they advertised it was sort of like it was a pay-per-view. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they made a huge deal about it on Raw. They made a huge deal about it with commercials everywhere. You know, like, okay, cool. And what we got instead was a house show, which, you know, we all knew going into it was going to be a house show. But I felt like this was like an in-betweener for pay-per-views and house shows.
Honestly, it was better than Raw.
Well, yeah.
Half the time.
That's not
Well,
hard.
it still fucking was just mediocre at best.
Yeah, but I feel like this is like one of the early like in your house type pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this felt like. Just low budget. Just push it out there. People will watch it. People will get excited for it. We're going to put Big Show against Brock Lesnar. Oh, is that going to be the main event? Fuck no. Brock Lesnar wants to get back to his hotel by 10 o'clock. You know, like...
Didn't they announce... The big thing that came out of it was they announced Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at Hell in the Cell. But...
didn't they do that at... I thought they did that before that.
Or was it Night of Champions they did that?
Yeah, that was Night of Champions.
Oh, then fucking one less thing for Madison Square Garden.
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. You know, it was fine wrestling.
But do you know how Owens beat Jericho?
No. Like, I...
Motherfucking rake to the eye!
See, but that's good. That's good.
So that's probably what I was thinking of, not on Raw. But who knows? He fucking probably did it on Raw, too. It's his new finisher, I guess. But, But I mean, Seth Rollins versus Cena was okay, and then it set up Kane and whatever.
See,
they were fucking with the lights the whole match. It looks like they didn't know when the fuck to turn them off.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
that?
it's a house show. I don't know like what else to say about that. The crowd was really into it.
Yeah,
and that was something else that was fucking hilarious to me. Was this is a house show, right? But you know how I was saying like this is kind of like that, like low budget in your house type pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. It was because they had stuff happen like John Stewart sitting there with his son. You know, just stuff like that. I mean, John Stewart very well might have went anyway. It's like, why not? It's wrestling at Madison Square Garden. Who's really going to miss that? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like... But at the same time, they were doing the normal spot a celebrity or spot a wrestler in the audience.
Yeah. Type
thing. And I was like, wow, this feels like a really bad in your house now. You know, and I don't know, like, it was just weird. None of the matches really mattered. I mean, it was like Raw. Or any of their other pay-per-views.
Got to see Paige cry like a little bitch some more.
That was cool. It kind of backfired, but that was cool.
And that's about it, really. I mean, that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah.
You got anything else to review before we call it a night?
Yeah. Actually, a couple things. Okay, so... I watched the Trish Stratus Lita Rivalries episode that just came on this week.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed this episode. Like, really enjoyed it. It was just like one of those things where it made me sad because I watched that and then I started Raw this morning. Because, I don't know. And And the whole time I was watching Raw this morning, I just kept comparing it to that Trish Stratus Lita Rivalries thing. And on it, like, they're not showing you complete matches. They're just giving you the basic storylines, and they'll show you, like, match highlights, stuff like that. And then I go back to just watch normal Raw, and I'm like, God damn it, Raw. God damn it. Because just them giving me the basic storyline with highlights of said storyline during the Lita and Trish Stratus thing, that mixed with NXT TakeOver, mixed with watching Lucha Underground, I was like, wrestling is something that's I really enjoy. And then I go back to Raw and go, why am I watching this? But the Lita Trish Stratus thing, it's really cool. Kind of awkward at times, just because they'll have people talking like that weren't there necessarily. They'll have, like, wrestlers talking about when they were fans, like when they were kids and they were watching it. And someone, of course, had to bring up, like, they started off talking about, like, all of the other women that were in the WWF at the time. So, like, they're talking about, like, Sable and the Cat and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, they were there, but they really didn't wrestle. And then Lita and Trish both came into the company around the exact same time, like within like weeks of each other. Mm-hmm. So they really just came up at the same time, and they talk about Lita being with what's his name? I say Rio. And they're talking about that, and that's cool. Then they talk about Trish, how she came out as just a valet. And then sooner or later, obviously she's going to have to fight. And Trish took it very seriously, obviously. And it was really, really good, though. Like, I definitely recommend it. A lot of cool, like, highlights that were there. To the point where, like, I'm like, okay, well, I want to watch this whole feud, like, this whole rivalry, like, the whole story of it. And obviously you can't do that because WWE Network, they are missing years of Raws and SmackDowns still,
yeah,
so...
Yeah, why is that still missing?
It's so people continue to subscribe. It's their way of dangling the carrot in front of you and going, don't worry, we'll get that. But this is the other thing I was thinking was, they are missing the complete year of 2000 Raw, last time I checked. And I thought that's kind of weird. Just because it's the year 2000. Like, how could you miss an entire year, right?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, that's when... Yeah, they're missing the entire year 2000, 2003, 2004, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2011. But then I started thinking, like, maybe that's when they went to Spike or TNN, so maybe they're still trying to deal with, like, the rights for it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense, but I don't know why they would be missing, like, 2011. Like, they have nothing from 2011. Not that I'm like, I want that, but it's just weird that it's not there. So, like, that makes me sad because this got me hyped up, and I'm like, okay, but they're showing me clips of Raws that I can't watch on the WWE Network. I mean, there's ways for me to obtain these, I'm sure, but I'm paying for the WWE Network. I would like to get this. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really good. And like I said, I strongly suggest it. And then I watched a DVD for Daniel Bryan, the Just Say Yes, 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 Yes. I think there's 4 yeses. Well, anyway, I watched it, and I know that we did joke about talking about Total Divas earlier. Well, guess what? There are some scenes on his DVD that are from Total Divas. Yeah, so at least nice. I'm pretty sure it's from Total Divas. Like, I want to say that's where the thing came from, where it was like Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins talking backstage, like during WrestleMania weekend. Because this whole thing was Daniel Bryan's rise to WrestleMania 30. You know, so it was like him and Seth Rollins talking backstage, and Seth Rollins like, so, you know, what are you up to? He's like, oh, you know, nothing. Not, you know, just same old, same old. And Seth Rollins like, oh, really? Like that, you're not doing anything? He's like, well, you know, I'm preparing to do hopefully two fights at WrestleMania, you know, but, you know, that's not too bad. And then me and Brie are getting married Friday after WrestleMania. And then we bought a house, and we just got approved for it. And I'm doing all of these things. But the way how Daniel Bryan talks about these things are just like, yeah, you know, that's just part of life. Like, he's like talking about how he has to do like all these radio interviews. He's like, yeah, you know, just the normal stuff. He's just like very nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
But this whole thing like made me like miss Daniel Bryan that much more. Actually, I turned off Raw to watch this.
So I guess Daniel Bryan is checking out one more doctor, and if it doesn't work out, it's gonna be it for him.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, that's something else that we didn't talk about. Wow. Yeah, so he said in an interview where him and John Cena were talking, and John was like, you know, if this doesn't work out for you, what are you going to do? Like, are you okay with wrestling back in the indies? And Daniel Bryan was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, and he made a comment that he's like really interested in Lucha Libre.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I'm saying is Lucha Underground is considered an indie. Just saying. But no, like that's insane for me to think that like the doctor that he went to actually deals with like NFL players. You know what I'm saying? Like he went to a legitimate doctor and he's like, you're good to go. And okay. WWE is going, well, our doctor is saying no. And what this comes down to is I think they're being overly cautious. One might say they're being overly cautious because Daniel Bryan has been prone to concussions over the past couple of years. But what I'm thinking is they are taking their sweet-ass time and being overly cautious because they have a certain doctor who's in the middle of a lawsuit for being a bad doctor.
Yeah.
And their own reality show that you could watch on the WWE network shows their medical staff sucking at their jobs. You know, so it's like one of those things where, like, I wonder if it's WWE going, no, we don't believe your doctor who approves NFL players to go back into the game. Or more them going, we don't trust our doctor. And if he says that you're not ready, we've seen him say that people are ready when they're not. And this guy's actually saying no to someone, so there might be something up. You know, like, I don't know, it's my conspiracy theory of the night. But, yeah, but that DVD is really fucking good.
Yeah.
I have the 3-disc set, and, like, I was not aware that his first fight in WWF was in 2000. Like, I was not aware of that. It was like on an episode of Heat or something, like a dark match of Heat.
Yeah, I think I saw that, and then he fucking disappeared.
Yeah. And then he came back for Velocity a couple years later and just was a jobber. But he was a jobber under the name Bryan Danielson. So that was pretty interesting to me. And after that, that's when Bryan Danielson pretty much became the internet darling, as Miz said in the thing. There's a lot of funny stuff with The Miz. Because, like, you know, like, that whole, like, or are you aware of like the storyline of like NXT, like season 1? So pretty much what it was like season 1 was sort of like Tough Enough, but they would throw a wrestling match in there every now and then. So they would have them do like these stupid obstacle courses and American Gladiator type bullshit. And it's stupid. It doesn't make a difference. If these guys can do any of this, it's like, what can they do in the ring? So, Miz was his pro, I guess you could say. I think that's what like they referred to him as. And then Daniel Bryan was like the rookie. But it's funny because like even like I guess later on, like they still are friends to a degree, and they'll still make fun of each other.
Yeah.
But Daniel Bryan makes fun of people with just like that very dry, sincere humor. You know, like you've seen him do it to Nikki on Total Divas. It's just great to see him do that to other people like The Miz. Because The Miz is like, dude, you don't look like a champion at all. Like, look at you. He's like, you're short, you have a beard, you don't even look good. and then Daniel Bryan just looks at him and is like, you don't look good either. Just like very calm, and it was just funny, like the way how he interacts with people. He's just a very likable guy. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. I'm hoping that they'll at least release the documentary part of it on the WWE Network within the next year, so you can check it out. Or I could probably let you borrow the DVD if you're interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. Really good.
Alright.
Yeah.
Any final words?
Let's do some quick plugs for other shows and then get out of here.
Sounds good.
BB and BC podcast with Mike and Iris. They just posted something that January is going to bring a big change to their show. I don't know what that means, but I'm excited and I'll continue to listen. And for those of you guys that are just listening to us now, I guess every week I talk about these guys, and it really is one of my favorite podcasts. They do, they just talk about cult cinema. It's excellent. Face the Music with Joe and Amy. It's a good show based out of upstate South Carolina. And they talk to local musicians from that area. But it's always interesting. Well, I would say 98% of the time it's interesting, unless they just get kind of a bad interview. Which I think has happened maybe one time. Maybe two. But I mean, it's not like it ruins the whole show. They just plow through it and then whatever. Geeks of the Industry with Chunky Larry. And if you go to geeksoftheindustry.com, you can definitely check out, Geeks of the Industry, the show itself, or you can check out Mega Powers Radio, which is hilarious. You could also check out Creature Features, which I was on an episode on, I think for Chopping Mall. And also in that feed, you'll probably find Friday the 13th Part 7, and I think I was on that one. Yeah, I was on that one. Talking about with Glenn, Wrestling Soup, and a new show I found this week called Cancelled. And it's where Chris Cubas goes through a season. He just, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Chris Cubas just goes through and he talks about an entire season of a TV show that was canceled with one season. So he'll watch them all with like a different guest for every show. And it's pretty funny. Like they point out some like weird things with like all these shows that I know and love. And now I sort of don't like because of them. Because they point out like all of the bad stuff. It's funny though. And once again, Beer and Song of the Day with Josh Baker. It's a good show on YouTube.
Alright, sounds good. Have a good night.